Hi, we're back reading The Black Pearl by Scott Odell. Yesterday we read chapter 14, and in chapter 14, the Sevillano had taken Ramon in his boat with the Black Pearl and taken them out to sea. And Ramon's not really sure where they're going, but as they are traveling in this little boat, they wait what they think is the Monte Diablo is kind of menacing them and making their boat rock back and forth by circling and making the waves really rock that little boat a lot. And so they have decided that they're going to go to this island that they see, and it's the island de los Muertos, which means the island of the dead. And so this is where we pick up in chapter 15. Los Muertos is barren like all the islands of our Vermilion Sea, but it has a snug, sandy cove where turtles by the hundreds come to lay their eggs. Into this we made our way, beached the boat, and then climbed a low hill behind the cove, which gives a good view of the island. Isla de los Muertos is small and mostly flat at its southern end. The Indians live out in the open with shelters of any kind. From the hill, we saw that evening fires were burning and people had gathered around them, and that their black canoes lay in a neat row on the shore. We decided, therefore, that no one had seen us sail into the cove. We turned the boat over and emptied the water that had almost swamped us and ate more of the corn cakes. By then, it was night. "We wait for an hour," said the Sevillano. "That will give the Manta time to find another boat to follow." "We can't wait for an hour or for a day," I said. "But he will be there, still." "What do you mean?" "I mean that the one out there is the Monte Diablo." It was too dark to see his face, but I knew that the Sevillano was staring at me as though I had lost all of my senses. "Santa Maria!" he cried. "I am aware that ignorant Indians believe in the Monte Diablo, but that you, who have been to school and can read books, one of the mighty Salazars himself, should believe this fairy tale. Santa Rosalia, it surprises me." "Furthermore," I said, "he is waiting out there for the pearl, and he will wait until he gets it." The Sevillano was leaning against the boat. He stood up and came over to where I sat. "If I throw the pearl into the sea," he said, "the Manta will take it, swim away, and leave us alone. Is that what you are getting at?" "Yes." The Sevillano turned his back and walked over to the boat and gave it a thump with his foot, I guess to show his disgust. He then strolled off into the dark as if he wished to be as far away from me as possible. The moon rose. Soon afterwards, from the hill above, I heard the soft cries and the rustle of birds. Something had disturbed the terns that had flown in at sunset to nest. As I glanced up, I saw a figure outlined against the sky. I jumped to my feet, but did not call to the Sevillano. Here was a chance to rid myself of him. I could climb the hill and tell the Indian who stood there why I had landed on the island. He might give me help, for he would understand about the Monte Diablo. It was a dangerous plan, yet it might have succeeded had not the Sevillano seen the Indian too. "We go!" he shouted. I hesitated a moment, watched the Indian on the hill above me. The nesting terns began to scream and flutter about, so I was certain that the other Indians had come up from the village to join him. The Sevillano ran to the boat and turned it over and stowed the supplies that lay in the sand. "Hurry!" he shouted at me. I walked over to the boat and helped him shove it into the water. Where the pearl was, I did not know. Whether hidden in the boat or in the Sevillano's pocket. "Perhaps you would like to stay," the Sevillano said. The Indians of Los Muertos dig a pit in the sand and put you in it up to your chin, and then let the turtles nibble at your face. But maybe you would like this better than the Monte Diablo. The boat was floating, and the Sevillano had picked up the oars. Do you go or stay? He said. A shower of arrows came whistling down from the hill and struck in the sand. There was nothing for me to do now except to scramble into the boat, which I did, just as a second flight of arrows churned the water around us. The moon was near to full, and the air was clear, and the sea stretched away like a bed of silver. There were no signs of the Monte Diablo. The Sevillano put up the sail, though the wind had died, and both of us rowed hard, fearing that the Indians would launch their canoes after us. For a long time we heard their shouts, but they did not try to follow us. When we left the lee of the island, we picked up a light breeze. The Sevillano reset the sail and took a sight on the North Star and steered the boat eastward along the moon's path. Where they go and what happens to them, we'll find out tomorrow in chapter 16. You guys have a great day.